Joel is just so cute. I love Joel.
I'm a big Joel fan. Canada loves you. Your house guests love you. Did a great job.
It's okay to be a little weird because we all have our weird quirks and stuff. And
Joel is the best.
Joel, you're the winner, and I will shout loudest, don't you worry.
Joel's a really smart guy.
Let's hear it, please, for Joel.
What's up, everyone? This is another edition of Random Thoughts. My name is Joel from Big Brother Canada. For another episode of Big Brother Canada 6 has come to a close, so it's time to break it down with the final 5 going on right now. And to dish on everything that is happening, I've got an original from Big Brother Canada, Liza Stinton. Liza, what's up?
An OG.
An
I
OG.
like that respect, bro.
It's what it's about. Got to give props. You're one of the peeps that started it all. That's how it is.
Started it all. Slice.
You're the OGs, and I will always be a COG because that was probably the shortest lived alliance ever with myself, Levita, and Dallas that lasted all of, I think, 2 days before Levita got backdoored. So there you go.
A COG? I don't remember.
Canadian original gangster is what we were.
We were adorable crew.
Right? Thank you so much. Oh,
That's like for a hot second, Jillian, Tala, and I were TLC, and we were trying to figure out who was crazy, who was sexy, and who was cool. Well, obviously.
Did you guys ask for a little respect?
Right? Like what was it? And creep? Yeah, we didn't go.
You had to creep. No, of course you cannot go chasing waterfalls.
All those alliances that didn't really make it. But yeah, thanks. Happy to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you here. Let's start off. I mean, honestly, with everything that's been going on live feeds, there's not a lot to talk about. The gameplay has kind of been stagnant, and there's a reason why. But let's talk about the eviction beforehand, because we did see some footage on tonight's episode about some of the things that happened, and it was literally kind of seemingly a last-minute decision between who should get evicted with between Ali and Kayla. Looking back at that now, why in the world was anybody even entertaining the thought?
Let me tell you first that last episode, I already could tell it was a last-minute decision, and do you know how?
How? Let's hear it.
I'll tell you, the second those two were on the block, I knew the decision hadn't been made yet for sure, because both girls were in their workout gear, ready for the triple just in case.
Yeah.
So when I was in the first double eviction, if you notice, I knew I was staying. Mm-hmm. Like, I knew they were getting Tom out first. Mm-hmm. So I was in my eviction dress because I couldn't let my showman's Tom know that I knew I was staying. Mm-hmm. And I remember even Emmett saying, oh, well, shit, what is Liza going to do if they don't let her change? Mm-hmm. But I had my workout gear. I freaking flip during commercial break. I flip into my workout gear, run out there, lose everything, lose HOH, lose POV, came back, put my dress on. Girl was not going out without her dress on. I'm telling you, I knew it was down to the minute because both were in their workout gear, which is stupid. They both should have been in their dresses just in case.
Okay, well then here's my question. They all were talking about the triple, which is fine. Get ready, gear up for that stuff. But why in the world were they even like entertaining the thought of getting rid of Kayla of not getting rid of Kayla at this stage of the game when Derek and Kayla are the only ones that are running things and they're the tightest pair?
My whole dish is going to be on, so you've got this tragic trio, and you've literally got one up per pair. You've got Dela and the Ding Dongs. So, good, you're going to break up a pair either way. Why on earth would you keep Dela? Like, as you're saying, as the tragic trio, you have power. You get to decide which pair you're going to break up. Literally, my mind, I guess in a way, they might have seen Johnny as the other trio. There you go. That's probably it. Like, they might have thought Johnny and Olivia
Liv and Ali,
and Ali were becoming more of a 3, so they didn't want to be 3 and 3. They wanted to be 2 and 3. But at this stage in the game, going into the triple, why would you keep the only people capable of winning competitions? And I mean, the only people capable of winning competitions.
Yeah, and I get that I can kind of see it from the perspective, maybe they want to, like, cut some deals with Derek because they know Derek is sticking around, and maybe a Paris or someone will want to cut something with Derek, knowing he's probably odds-on favorite to win an HOH in triple. That's fine, but like one of the deals that was cut was that Kayla and Derek promised Paris that they would take her to a final 3. Why is that good for Paris when it's 2 against 1 and it's the 2 biggest comp threats?
It's the 2 biggest comp threats, and not just physical, mental, clearly. Like, I can't believe Derek pulled out that HOH, man. Like, I mean, it was a random Blood Brothers quote, but, I mean, I just it's crazy. Like, I don't know if everyone else is just stupid, or they're just, like, really on their game, or maybe they have each other to sort of strategize and study with, but, yeah, it's better to cut Kayla. I mean, I love her, and I want her to win, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, Kayla for the win. But it was better to cut Kayla, and then guess what? Lone Ranger Derek, who has nobody, that's when you start making final 2 deals. That's when you start looping in the Lone Ranger loop Derek in with the tragic trio, and still get rid of the other guys.
And then get rid of Derek because he's pretty much got his win his way to the end, no doubt, and he doesn't have any sort of leg to stand on, right?
Get rid of Derek if you can.
Right.
So let's say they cut Kayla instead.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the triple, to be honest, I think the triple was still going to blow out Johnny and but who knows? Johnny and Olivia, let's say. Derek could still win out. Like, it's not so easy to start getting rid of people in the final 4, man. Yeah. You better hope you know how to win competitions.
What also stood out for me in this episode early on, not only the intensity and how late it was, which is something I can relate to because I've had some evictions like that where people were literally like talking to me before Arissa popped on the screen, but literally while the eviction was going on, there was still chit-chat. Is it not a rule anymore? Because it was definitely a rule when I was in there, and I think it was a rule when you were in there too, that there's like no talking or communicating whatsoever, right?
I know, they're probably just being disobedient. Mine was different. I mean, I was only in there a month. Well, only. The longest month of my life. But we were with season 1, man, so it was different. We actually, we got so screwed over in our double. Like, like I had no time. You know what I'm saying? My double was a real double. Like, our doubles were real doubles. Like, commercial break doubles. Now they realize all the meat is in that middle part. Yeah. So they give you a lot more time. Like, they really let you, they know that dragging people into the storage room and making deals and pleading and campaigning last minute is where it's at. So I have no base of reference of talking whatsoever because my double eviction was real time. I didn't even have time during the commercial break, as I said, to change out of my workout gear, throw my dress back on because I was not leaving that house in a junky tank top and like whatever, like I was leaving that house in a dress. So yeah, I didn't even have time to think, never mind be talking to people down to the last second of eviction. Like, I don't know.
My question is, why did they get rid of Liv when she had just lost her #1 ally? And I think Liv kind of made a bit of a mistake, and I don't know if it was the one thing that was the reason that she got evicted in that triple, but if Allie's gone, Liv could kind of be on her own. You can get rid of Johnny and rope Liv in as another ally and somebody who has won a competition. But Liv did say in the triple, even like after Allie got evicted, that, oh, I'm not alone. I'm like, well, that's a good thing if you're alone, right?
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I mean, I need to think it through for numbers' sake, but what do you think would really be better for Dela? Like, no offense, I'm trying not to be shady, but Will, Paris, and Maddie are incapable of winning anything ever, period. So Kayla just saved her ass from the block in like minutes, seconds. Kayla literally thought she was out the door. So let's talk about your ass is saved, your freaking showmance wins HOH in the triple. What's your move? And honestly, getting rid of Johnny and Liv was the better move because they're capable of winning competitions. Think about it. Like, both of them are capable of winning POVs. Yeah, I'm not knocking Dela. I do think that it was a decent move for Dela, but the trio, you got to think for them, they've been so weak and terrible at competitions that they want any sort of excuse to get somebody who could be on their side and who has won something, even if it's just one HOH. Because it was up to Derek and Kayla. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying Dela had power, and in that minute, it's not about you've got a trio over here and a duo over here, but that doesn't matter because the trio had voting power. I was thinking that too. I was thinking like, why wouldn't you take out a trio member? Like, why wouldn't you take out one of each? And then I was like, oh, you can't really do that because.
Yeah.
But like, bottom line, it's not about alliances anymore. It's not about the numbers game. Now it's a win out. So if you're Kayla and your ass was just saved from the block 5 minutes ago, and you don't know how the night's going to play out, and your man wins HOH, you've got full power, like, who would you rather be up against in the next HOH? Like, do you want to go against Johnny and Olivia, who have proven they can win? They actually are capable of winning. I'm not calling them compies. Would you rather play like, if you're, so Kayla won POV, right? Yeah. Okay. So Derek has HOH.
Yep.
Kayla is their only chance at the next HOH.
Right.
While keeping them safe.
Yep.
Does Kayla want to go up against Olivia and Johnny, who are capable of winning a competition, or do you want to go up against the tragic trio, which, like, bring it?
Although I will say, looking at this HOH, even though I already knew what had happened because I've been following live feeds, I did not realize that it literally came down to the very end with a number between Maddie and Kayla. So I was like, well, you know, I think that was probably their best chance of winning, is some sort of a crazy luck thing where you just randomly guess a number at that point.
You know how it is. You never know.
Yeah.
Somebody could injure themselves. They could twist their ankle. They could get confused. Maybe their pieces are stuck. Like, there's 1,000,001 reasons why. I mean, we can't just assume Kayla's going to win. Maddie has actually proven it. Well, this is the thing. It's like, sorry, I just, like, so annoyed. Like, when people say that, like, people are beasting through the end, like, you know, Emmett and Jillian, I'm like, the only reason people get to beast through the end is because you got out the comm threats in the beginning. Right. So it's not like Kayla and Derek are beasting out Erica.
It's because the Jessies and the Hamzas aren't there.
Right. Erica, Jessie, Hamza.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're beasting out Paris right now. Like, anyway. So, yeah, I was just going to give Maddie some props and say good to her. She came really close in that space POV against Derek. And she obviously came close in this HOH. But who's left to come close? It's got to come down to somebody. Like,
is there a competition, do you think, that Big Brother could have if we know Big Brother, and if Big Brother could have thrown a competition the trio's way that was perfectly catered to either Will, Maddie, or Paris, is there anything they could have thrown where they would have had an unfair advantage over Derek and Kayla?
Well, yeah, like, we know that they know, like, production knows us inside and out. And, like, I was a basketball free throw champion when I was 13. Like, what? I can shoot a free throw shot. Like, so I always knew in my gut, if there was ever a competition where there was a basketball shot, not like a freaking half-court three-pointer, or the one in this season where Paris got to move the net. If there was ever a competition that involved a straight-up free throw shot, I knew they were throwing it to me. Like, I knew production was giving me the win. So I don't know what it would have been, but there definitely are ways they could have thrown it to these kids. They know their ins and outs. Like, in my season, the shootout, when I don't know, I forgot what it was called because it was 500 years ago, but there was like a hockey shootout. And everyone thought it was for Tom. It wasn't. Gary was the
hockey player. Gary used to play hockey, yeah.
And I am convinced they threw me the HOH that I lost because I told them I was really, really, really good at visual memory. Like, I can play a memory game all day. And then it was St. Paddy's Day. Remember, Emmett just got his POV, his HOH stripped for cheating. I know Emmett got his HOH stripped for cheating because he was going to put me up. And that's not what production wanted. Sorry, I don't know if we can talk about production.
You just did. It's too late.
Production. So then they brought the people in, and I was so excited to see people in the house. I wasn't paying attention at all. And then it was like, Liza, how many guys were there? What was the color of the feather? I was like, oh, shit. And then I lost, and I went home.
Yeah, I have a feeling the same way with my season. Like, when I was at Final 5 and the infamous, like, popcorn veto thing that got my butt kicked out of the house, they knew that I was an actor. I was a big movie buff and stuff, so they threw a movie competition my way because they're like, well, he's an actor. He knows how to memorize lines and all this stuff. And what do? I tanked it and got voted out for that.
Like,
so.
I don't think you can ever really know how the house is going to go. Maddie is really good at days. So I didn't see the HOH comp. Sorry, I didn't watch the episode, so I didn't see the actual comp. What was it?
It was it's another one. Speaking of like adding more nightmares to my Big Brother time while I was in the house, it was the exact same one where me, Cassandra, and Tim lost at Final Five, the one that Kelsey beat us on, the previously on Big Brother, where you have to pick who was HOH, and they'll give you a scenario. They have that voice saying, like, previously on Big Brother Canada, and then you have to pick who was HOH when, like, the Jack...
Wait, and is it an A or B, or you have to pick the face?
No, you got to pick the face of all the So you got a face of all the HOHs that had been HOH up to that point, and you got to spin your dial to, like, well, when the first time that they played this Hasbro game was who was HOH during that time. And yeah, it came down to a number between Maddie and Kayla. The number was like something crazy, like how many balls had they fired during that target aiming one that Derek won. Kayla said 180, Maddie said 112, and it was like around the 400 or 500 or something like that. So it ended up literally by like about 60 or 70.
Really, honestly, and it's chance. Like, and Maddie is actually, when you say could there throw anything, I think Maddie is really good at days. Didn't the triple, did you hear her say, yep, day 55, just like last season? Yep. Like, girl knows her days, and days are so crucial at this part in the game. Like, in my season, that's all I can really talk about, Flattery. But in my season, everyone thought Emmett was a comp beast. Emmett was a freaking genius. We all knew he was, like, the guy. And there's, like, a Final Four competition. I mean, I can picture it. I don't know when it happens. It's, like, a Final Five or a Final Four competition. And it was, like, a math, like, it was so nuts. And it was, like, the number of Power of Veto's Tom won, minus the number of days Andrew was in the house, times the number of something else, like, and then keep doing that. And I'm like, what the F? I couldn't even get one of those right. And Emmett was like, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, what?
Yeah, you got to be like, don't get me wrong. I think everybody studies in there to a certain extent. But to myself, I never thought to study like, when the first time somebody drank like some juice, or the first time somebody like had cereal, and in these kind of competitions,
we know the days when people were evicted. Like I know I was evicted on day 29. I don't think we forget things like that.
Right. But you don't think of like the random stuff, right?
Game was played.
Yeah. You don't think of like the random things like that. But and of course those are the ones where that Big Brother throws at you because they know that somebody is probably going to get one of those questions wrong. So they can like move the competition along and bring it down to like one or two people. So Kayla, shocker of all shockers, is the head of household. At this stage of the game, Maddie probably in this episode said one of the smarter things I've ever I've heard her say throughout we haven't heard too much from her throughout the season, but she says the smartest thing that they need to do now is whoever is not nominated, they need to throw the veto to them. Is that the smartest thing you've ever heard Maddie say in the house?
No, hold on. So Kayla's HOH.
Kayla's HOH. They're not sure yet. We find out later on, of course, who's nominated. But is it not sort of a common sense thing that the trio should throw it to whoever's not on the block, the veto? That way Derek goes home.
Throw it to who's not on the block.
Yeah.
But yes, that's exactly what should happen. That's exactly what should happen. I mean, we already have spoilers, so I know what happens. But like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, throw it to Will. Oh, do we know who's nominated?
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, it's Maddie.
I don't know what happened.
Maddie and Paris. Maddie and Paris are nominated.
Exactly.
So Will's not on the block.
Duh. Throw it to Will. It's the golden power veto, so he's safe. He saves whoever. It doesn't matter, Maddie or Paris. She's forced to put up Derek, and the other trio has the vote. The sole vote.
Is there any incentive, and I know a lot of people who have been watching the show are probably looking back on like, oh, remember Netta and John, and Netta was always talking about cutting John in her season. Is there any incentive, do you feel like, at Final Five right now for Kayla to pull the trigger on Derek? Because she's been talking about it a lot over the last little while, and Derek has not. So is there any reason for Kayla to take the shot now?
Think so. Sorry, I'm getting so riled about throwing it to the non-person. It's true though. Like, I mean, it's not that easy because Kayla and Derek are beasts, and you better like that's the brilliant part. That's the brilliant part about them cutting Johnny and Olivia in the triple. Because if Johnny and Olivia were still in the house, let's say, the dream strategy of throwing it to the person could work out. It's very plausible Johnny or even Olivia at that point could win. It's unfathomable that Maddie, Paris, or Will would be in a position to throw anything to anybody. But sorry, yeah, I wish in a perfect world if like Will won it, saved Maddie, let's say she has to put up Derek, and then Maddie and Will have the votes to evict.
Yeah.
Gah! That would be such good TV. Listen, I don't know. Everyone wants to be, you know, Emmett and Jillian went final 3 also. Yeah. And John and Netta went final 3. And then you've got Kelsey and the Pax Bros, which is confusing because they were in a relationship after. But like a lot of showmances sort of go to the end. Mm-hmm. Let's try to think of more. Ika didn't make it to final 5, right? Or did she?
Final 4. And then Kevin won veto. So that pretty much screwed her. Otherwise, she would have made it further.
How do you remember shit like that?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just weird like that. I got
I'm just the best.
I'm just too weird.
It is stupid for her to get rid of Derek now because... Hold on, I have to sneeze. It's coming.
Wait for it, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, hold your applause.
I laughed my
Wait
way
for
out
it.
of
Here we go.
I have crazy allergies and I was cleaning. Because what we were saying before, sorry, I'm going to circle back, because of the bitter jury. Mm-hmm. So you've got Alejandra who just said, go screw yourself, I will never vote for you. I think she's going to calm down in jury and hopefully not be bitter and pick the better players, so whatever. But then you had Johnny go out with such class. I think you actually went out with a lot of class and saying, hugging everybody, and you played a great game and it's been an honor. So I think Johnny's going to go in there with a really clear head. But I actually think Kayla has the best chance of winning against Derek, period. Like if you put Kayla up against a trio, you risk a bitter jury. If she's up against Paris, you risk Maddie and there's Maddie and Will, boom, boom. And now you risk Alejandra staying pissed. You risk Alejandra getting in Olivia's ear.
Yeah.
Maybe they influence Johnny. Like Kayla, who's obviously the person who should win this game, if she goes up against a trio member, she risks a bitter jury. If she goes up against Derek, I think she clean wins.
Well, then let's talk on the flip side of things. Was Will the weakest competitor? Because you got to think from Kayla and Derek's perspective, the person they don't put on the block. You got to think if they're smart about it, they're gonna not nominate the person that is the weakest competitor, so that way they don't win the veto at all. Is Will that person out of the 3 in your opinion?
Wait, in what scenario?
Well, like, okay. Worst case scenario for Derek and Kayla is if the person not nominated wins veto and uses it, correct? That means Derek has to go up.
Right.
Right. So
we're talking currently in current times.
So
okay.
is the best initial nominations, therefore, should be the 2 biggest competitors, put them on the block, force them, if one of them wins, to take themselves off the block and then put that other person up. And not the third person. Like is Will, like you'd think, I'm thinking from Kayla's perspective, and that is you want to put the weakest person, you want to not put the person, oh my God,
I know what you're saying.
Okay.
You want to put the weakest person. You were saying it right.
You want to not nominate
put the person least likely to win the veto, not put them up.
Right, exactly.
Them winning is the worst case scenario.
Yes.
Honestly,
is that Will?
Yeah.
Yeah?
First of all, Maddie is in there, man. Like, Maddie should go this week because she's their biggest competition. She's not only... I think her brain is better than all of them, to be honest. I really do. I think Maddie's got her days, man. But if you throw in pressure and physicality, I think she loses it because Kayla is such a rugby player. Like, and so is Derek. They're both so athletic. Like, I think it's really hard. That's when she loses it. I know she just lost in a numbers thing, but I don't know how many balls there were in that stupid competition. Like, sometimes it just comes down to picking a number.
Yeah.
But I think Maddie won't beat them out physically. Like, honestly, is Will still in this game?
Like, according to Big Brother Canada, he is.
I was watching Will, and he actually was doing fine. Listen, I couldn't see his board, but I think he was putting people in the right order. And I don't mean to be an asshole, but I was like, oh my God, Will knows something. Like, I was like, if Will is actually putting the right players in the right order, he knows something, which was a shock to me. Because he literally, I wonder if he's just looking at other people's boards.
Yeah.
Like, listen, he's a tall guy, but he's not a strong guy. Like, he's not an athletic. So, like, tell me little Kayla in her little rugby. Tell me little rugby Kayla was able to get those triple pieces off first before Will.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really shitting on Will, but I don't know what he's good for. Yeah, they did. They made the right move. He's the weakest.
Yeah, okay.
He has to think.
So, if it doesn't make any sense whatsoever for Kayla to cut Derek at this point, then is it a pretty fair bet at this point to feel like those two are going to be in Final 3 simply because Derek is, in all likelihood, going to win next HOH?
Well, because forget next HOH, because the only thing that matters in Final 4
is the veto.
Is the veto.
Yeah.
And tell me the veto's not going to be, like, it's one of them.
Okay, so I actually, when you were saying that Maddie is the biggest, their biggest competition, I agree with you in terms of, like, vetoes and HOHs, but is there not a case on the flip side of that to be like, well, Maddie could be the easiest person to beat at the end of the game? Because what is she? You think she gets votes?
Disagree.
Why do you think she gets votes?
I think Maddie's the hardest person to beat in the end. She's the only one I would vote for.
Why?
She's the only tragic trio I would vote for. Maddie was out the door like week 3 or something.
But what does she do to get herself off except have people like Johnny and Paris vouch for her?
I remember she looked someone in the face early, like 2 or 3, man. She was the floater pawn, she was out the door. It was Erica or something. Mm-hmm. Somebody wanted her ass out the door. And every little week she just like dipped and dipped and dipped. And she would look people in the face. She had a conversation with Erica that said something like, I'm a lone wolf, I have no alliances, and I can't win any competitions. Mm-hmm. Why the heck would you vote me out? Boom, safe. And then whatever she needed to say next week, boom, safe. Her ass was out the door week 2, and Maddie has literally been like fighting for her life ever since.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Paris has an argument.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence, and I'm glad you brought up Paris because I'm interested your take on her. I've been saying for weeks now that I've been kind of really on the fence and back and forth about her because I'm like, she clearly has a good social relationship because all of her friends keep getting knocked off one after the other, but she hasn't been put up until now. So do you think she's been doing a good job to somehow survive when the likes of Jesse's and the Ryans and the Veronicas, people that she's been vouching for, are out? Or do you think that's going to hurt her because really, what can she say her move was this season? She tried to keep Ryan, failed. She tried to keep Veronica, failed. She tried to keep Jesse, failed. Everybody she has tried to vouch for, it's pretty much fallen on deaf ears.
Yet she will call herself the mastermind of the seasons.
Right.
She will say she had a hand in everybody's eviction. And what scares me is I actually think Paris would have a really aggressive final 2 speech. Mm-hmm. Even though it's all bullshit, it's all self-created bullshit.
Yep.
She would get up there and like, what would Will say?
What would
Will's final 2 speech look like?
What would?
Vote for me, eh? There, I just did Will's.
And then they would do the translator for the entire thing.
Will
it would
say
be
that thing. So Will is Gina Marie, who I love. So she's not gonna watch this, but Gina Marie was just like, "You guys, like Andy is a genius." So Andy didn't take Spencer. Sorry, I'm BBUSing.
Yeah.
But Andy didn't take Spencer because Spencer would have had the most coherent, cohesive, intelligent final 2 speech of all time, and he put Gina Marie up there. You guys, vote for me. And of course,
what if Will had either that cute little fish cod by his side and just said, "Guys, look at this cod," or had his son there with him to say, "Guys, look, it's my son." Would that be able to get him some sympathy votes? Is that his only argument to get votes?
So Will actually has no chance of winning, but you got to be so careful with the bitter jury and his pals. So Will sitting on that final 2 is dangerous. Okay, the only way Will has a chance, I think, is against maybe Derek. Ugh, that would be a terrible final 2. Yeah, God, I'm so scared of a bitter jury, man.
Well, you mentioned Kayla's your number 1 person to win. I think she's pretty much like the front runner on just about everybody's list from what I've seen. Is there any situation, obviously votes are going to be different no matter who she's up against, but if she's sitting in final 2, is there any situation where she loses?
Well, I told you before, I'm so scared of that. If she's sitting against a tragic, she will win against Derek. That doesn't make me nervous at all. Mm-hmm. If she's sitting against any of the trio, I'm just nervous about Alejandra saying, I will not vote for you. I hope she calms down in jury. If Alejandra gets into Olivia's ear, and then they're all in jury right now, so they're all like conspiring, the three of them. So God knows what they're talking about or what stories they're sharing or how they're feeling or who they're pissed at. And then you throw on the fuel, then you're going to have, let's say Paris is there. Let's say it's Kayla and Paris, man, which I like. Will's going to throw it to Paris. Maddie's going to throw it to Paris. Like, I think Kayla, that's why, circle back. This is why I don't think Kayla should cut Derek right now. I actually think Derek is Kayla's best chance to win. And why not give your showmance the $20K, man?
Yeah, and it's gonna do well. I guess next question would be: we never heard John ever talk about cutting Netta, and so it was like a big shock to the majority of us when we saw him cut Netta when he won that final HOH. Do you think Derek will ever have a little light bulb ding off in his head and then be like, okay, you know what? Because there's a pretty good chance it's gonna come down to those two in like a part 3 HOH. I'm gonna even call it right now. It's gonna come down to Derek and Kayla in part 3 of the final HOH. So really, it's who wins that guarantees themselves. If it's Derek, would he have the sense to cut her at that point?
You never know. So in my season, do we remember who the final 3 was?
Emmett and Jillian.
And the third was
Gary.
And who took it?
It was Gary.
It was Gary.
But Gary was a much better competitor. I'm sorry, but Gary had a resume. Know.
Gary would have, I don't think Gary would have been good at endurance. Gary, he's physical, he's strong, he's smart. He got to go to jury, which I hate. I hate the returning player. But he got to go to jury, so he had all this knowledge. Well-roundedly, Gary is a far better competitor than Paris or Will. But I'm just saying, Emmett and Jillian beasted. Do you remember in the final 3 comp? And there was a thing that you had to get the HOHs in order, and they were like Emmett, Jillian, because they knew they beasted it through the end until the one that mattered. Mm-hmm. So you never know. You never know who's going to take that one that freaking Cody got it in BB16.
Yeah.
Sabrina
got fun. Sabrina, and now that I'm thinking back, I remember Sabrina won the HOH in the final 4 when it was John, Netta, and Heather. So you got a bit of a point there.
My worst case scenario is Paris pulling out a final 4 POV.
Yeah.
Then there's her game.
Yeah.
Then she actually has something to say. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah. So
but
who's the better person for Dayla to take to final 3? Is it Will or is it Paris?
It's Will, because Paris will be able to. This is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Paris will be able to articulate her arguments in a final 2 speech.
Yeah.
Paris, whether she is great or not, doesn't matter, because she thinks she's so great. She's already building her resume in her head. She's already planning her final 2 speech. Mm-hmm. So she will articulate herself very well. And frankly, not being nominated until now does look good for her. Will, what the hell is Will going to say? Will, do you know what I mean? He's a much better person to take to final 3.
Yeah.
He won't. There's no way.
Yeah.
Will against Derek and Kayla, I don't think he beats them physically, mentally, endurance. There's no way.
Okay, well, I want to talk more about Will, so I want to get into live feeds right now because there is some crazy stuff. Well, I don't know if I'd call it crazy, but just it's surprising or not surprising stuff that Will did. So we'll get into live feeds right now. So, the veto was played. It was all on Will to essentially keep the trio safe. But Will, for some reason, some godforsaken reason, does not want to use the veto. He wants to uphold his end of the deal. I think he goes as far as to swear on his son that he will not use the veto if he were to win it to Derek and Kayla. Does he just have no idea about this game and he's just too emotional to play Liza, or why? What's the logic behind him doing this?
I don't know. I need to meet him in person and figure it out, because I think he's such a bag of bricks that I really can't figure it out. I don't know if he auditioned, if he was a recruit, is he a fan? Does he actually understand how this game is played? Did he think it would be fun? I I don't know. Does he know days and stuff? Like, does he know dates?
He was dead last in the HOH competition. He's the only Paris got one wrong where she like locked it in and was like, oh crap, it's too late. I can't like re-switch. But Will was dead last in this memory one, and in this.
So what are you asking me? You're like, what's his?
Like why is he not? Why does he not want to use the veto if he wins it? Why does he? Why is he a player like this? And why is he boxing himself in by making such a such a deep promise like that on his son?
Will is here's his problem. There's two things. He's very short-sighted. Mm-hmm. He only has conversations about now, and he is very emotional. And I don't like players like that. Like, I don't like players who are like, why'd you throw me under the bus like that? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, it's called campaigning, and it's me or you. Like, I don't like Tala. Sorry, I'm so my season, but like Tala was really calm, cool, collected, like really under the radar until she wasn't. So as soon as someone put her on the block, she lost her mind. Like, she was so pissed off, and that's sort of Will. Like, you didn't do anything, Will. Did you really think you were going to coast to the end? Which hilariously could happen. I don't have any case for him, Joel. I don't know what you're asking me. Like, what's Will's plan? He doesn't have a plan. Will doesn't think to the end of this day, never mind the end of this week or the end of this game.
I get that, but I feel like even the dumbest type of Big Brother player could just see the logic of just like, hey, there's three of us. You use it, and then the other person can do it. But I don't know.
No, you just
Apparently
said a word,
not.
logic.
Yeah, I said logic.
And you said think.
I apologize.
Like, you're saying think and logic.
Think and
so
logic.
Will literally this entire game has done whatever he's been told to do. Because wasn't he like really tight with Johnny or Erica? Like, he had somebody who told him, I've got your back in the beginning. And then someone who said, I've got your back in the middle. And now he's got Harris and Maddie who say, we've got your back. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. Like, Will just literally, like, goes in the direction he's sort of guided blindly.
Yeah.
So he was like, oh, they're in power. I won't use the veto. I don't think he had a plan in mind.
No, and as fate would have it, we don't know exactly what the veto was, but we do know that Will did not win the veto. In fact, it was one of those where you can, like, you choose to drop out. So probably some sort of a combination of mental and physical, but it was one where you can throw it by simply dropping out, and Will did simply drop out, which screwed over Maddie and Paris, that they're going to be sitting on the block. Kayla won the Power of Veto. Kayla,
of course. It was the one where, like, how far will you go? Like, will you stay up all night?
Like the price of Power of Veto, like shave your head or any of that jazz?
Like, is that now or is that a final four?
I honestly think that...
I think that's 5.
It could be 5. Sometimes it's earlier. For us, it was at 7 when Jared wouldn't cut his hair and could have won the Power of Veto that week. And then I took, like, all of the, like, slop for the whole season and all those other punishments.
Oh, and that hasn't happened
yet. That was at 7. That hasn't happened. Maybe they won't have that, because I was saying my entire season, I was always every week prepping with Cassandra, like, hey, we got to get ready for this spelling comp. There's going to be a spelling comp. Oh, get ready for the spelling comp. Say understanding. Remember what Brendan said. And there was never a spelling comp. So they'll probably, Big Brother will have one of those simply because they've been guessing every single week. I feel like when the double is going to happen, when the triple is going to happen, they're probably like, you know what? Let's just, like, throw this out. We were going to do this, but let's just throw this out to throw everybody off, and let's just do, like, a bowling competition or free throws. Let's do Liza's free throws and force her to watch from the sidelines. Let's torture that girl.
I would have been all weak and my back hurts. I can't do this. Yeah, I don't know what Will's doing. This Final 5 really bugs me, but I'm trying to not be salty.
Is there any case at all that Maddie can make to appease Derek and Kayla to keep her this week, or is there just nothing?
I'm just gonna loop around back to Paris. Let's have a conversation.
Let's have a conversation about that. Let's loop.
keeping off the block so long, because I mean, like, Peter Brown and I will fight about this all the time because he hates comp wins. Like, him and Alec they think they're Dr. Will. I love you guys. And so they're like, you don't need to win a single comp to win Big Brother. But I'm like, that's just a shitty win. Yes, it's possible. Mm-hmm. And I get it. Like, okay, well, you talk to me because I don't get it. Like, the goal is to win. So is the argument, it doesn't matter how you get there, as long as you get there. Then you're the winner. But I'm like, you can be a shitty winner. Like, if you Paris your way to the end, that's a shitty win. Yeah. Like, she's not a strategical mastermind. Derek was so brilliant in season 16. Like, I don't remember his exact alliances, but he was in some alliance for the longest time. He would know exactly when to cut, like, Beast Mode Cowboy. Mm-hmm. Like, Derek and Andy, to be honest. Andy was in was it 4 a.m. first?
Yep.
Andy was in 4 a.m. first and knew exactly when it was time for... No, that's wrong. And then there's the Exterminators.
Yeah, that was near the end. That's the one that took him to the end.
So he's in 4 a.m. Yep. And the Exterminators, which Gina Marie was in both, mm-hmm. right? Oh, and no, they were all in the Exterminators.
He had something in between. Yeah.
Ah, shit.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Whatever. Andy had 2 alliances that I still remember their names. Right. And Andy knew exactly when it was time to dump one and flip, because Andy would stay awake every night playing out all the scenarios. Same mm-hmm. as Derek. Mm-hmm. Derek knew exactly on the numbers game when it was time to leave whatever alliance, reform with these guys, and move forward. That is not Paris. Paris having a conversation with somebody where she passive-aggressively suggests a move, and then maybe that happens to happen, is not her controlling the votes. She is a floater. Like, I hate Will saying, bye-bye, blonde floater. Olivia wasn't a floater.
No.
Olivia had alliances and made agreements and actually won a POV or whatever she won, you know? Mm-hmm. Paris is total floater, isn't doing anything. Anyway, I just like, okay, so she hasn't been on the block till now, but that mm-hmm. means 2 things. You are not good enough to be considered a threat, mm-hmm. and you are not shitty enough to be a pawn. And listen, if playing the middle game to the win is a good Big Brother game, then great. But like, that's like the lamest strategy for me.
But who's the other thing? And a lot of fans never understand this, and they're always talking about, well, why are we playing Big Baby? And fine, whatever. You liked Ross when he played Celebrity Big Brother, or you were a fan of Paul and Paul dominated, so you think Paul got screwed. There's so many fans that are going to have that mentality. But there's something to be said when you're in jury about people take things personally, and who's personally upset with Paris. Like, who did Paris, like, really screw over in jury? Who is, like, super pissed at Paris in jury? That's another factor in it. I know fans will always be like, well, why do people need to stop being babies? That's irrelevant. The point is, that's a factor. Your emotions do play a factor sometimes when you're in jury. And who's pissed at Paris?
My roommate's coming home.
Is she pissed at Paris?
Joel wants to know if you're pissed at Paris. Nothing. Okay, so this is like, we're not having an argument here, we're having a conversation, because I need someone to explain to me why that's a good game. So you're using the jury management strategy. No one is pissed at her, but in a jury full of Alejandras and Ryan's in jury, right?
Yeah, Ryan was her ride or die.
Ryan's a real gamer, though, and so is Alejandra, and so is Johnny.
Yeah.
So I don't think real people with real respect for the game would ever vote for a Paris. Are they pissed at her? No, but that's where the bitter jury thing comes in. So she's made no enemies, but has she done anything in the game worthy of the win? And I think the Ryans of the world, if Paris is against Kayla, she's screwed.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Even though, like, they weren't personally scorned by Paris and they're not angry with her. So, yeah, her bitter jury management is good, but her, like, super fan jury management is bad.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so weird to meet all these people. You're not coming, but like,
no, I know.
Now it's gonna be so crazy because like we're all just like, hey, we're everybody's friend, and like watching Kayla and Allie go at it, I was like, oh shoot, I wonder if there's gonna be drama.
Oof, yeah, that's gonna be. Do you think? It seems like Kayla has been getting more of the brunt of these evictions than Derek has. So do you think Derek has a better chance if he's at the finals with one of the other three, or will the others still vote out of bitterness against Derek if he's up against, say, Paris, Will, or Maddie? Because Derek doesn't seem to have as much blood and as much sort of venom thrown at him during these evictions as Kayla does. Am I wrong?
Yeah, but that's the same thing. So you're still doing the bitter jury management. Derek has better bitter jury management, but Kayla has better superfan management. Like, she is the better player. Though it would be, I think Kayla has the best chance against Derek, but I think Derek should cut Kayla if he wants the win and go with a trio.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't know that there's like any chance, just given the fact that Derek has zero idea of like anything about this game. He even was saying, I think a day or two ago, wasn't he saying something like, he was saying to Kayla, I'm not gonna be like Netta and that other guy.
No,
he couldn't even name
idea,
John.
Dude.
Yeah.
So his family, or whoever's running his Twitter, says that he auditioned twice, that he's a fan like of the show, and because they thought it would be a fun social experiment. Mm-hmm. When he walked into the backyard in that competition this year, he didn't know who Kevin, Ika, or Sabrina were. He looked and he literally went, who are these people? Yeah. Which means he hasn't watched 2, 3, or 5.
Mm-hmm. But do you think that's a good thing for him? The fact that he had came in with zero knowledge, because he was obviously when you just look at him from the outside, and
that's Jillian and that's Kelsey.
I'm saying we judge, but we judge people from the outside all the time with how we look, and he had the look of somebody who was athletic and who was charming, and I think we all probably could have assumed he was going to be in a showmatch. So was that his best thing going for him? Was the fact that he just had absolutely no knowledge of the game, and that's carried him this far?
Blinders on, just go win comps, and he did.
Yeah.
Because, what social game was he playing? Who has he had game conversations with that aren't Kayla?
He's good bros with guys. He's always talked about, broing down, so he's,
But not, making alliances or talking strategy.
No, never.
Find me a clip of Derek talking strategy or plans to anyone else.
Yeah, that's fair. But
that isn't initiated by them. If someone approaches him and they're like, this is what we got to do, then he's like, yeah, we got to do that.
Yeah, and then, but whatever he's done, it's gotten him this far where he's probably going into Final 3, and probably he just needs to win a question competition, in my opinion, to get there.
And he has proven that he could do it twice now in those sort of A, B, pick one. Maybe he's just got a good memory or is good at paying attention. That's all it takes.
Yeah, maybe he's just a damn good guesser, and he's got a horseshoe stuck up his ass.
Right?
Who the hell knows?
See,
could be. It's the Beaumont luck thing that we have going on. I'm from Beaumont as well, so I could I know all about the Beaumont charm.
It's Kayla's birthday today, and it's the exact same birthday as Rochelle and AJ.
Well, it is Rochelle and AJ's birthday today. I wonder why that is. That a lot of people who play Big Brother Canada always have the same birthday. I have the same birthday as Jared and Netta as well.
See,
all three of us have the same birthday. Birthday trios. That's a twist. Who was it? I think Kevin was tweeting out a week or two ago that they need to bring back power duos. They need to bring back birthday couples or birthday trios. Have some sort of a birthday off competition,
Kayla,
all the September 17th against Joel, Jared, and Netta.
Oh my gosh. That'd be great.
Against just 6 other people that have no birth, or play out another.
I'm sure
2 or 3
there's
more
others
seasons.
there. We don't know everyone's birthday. I'm sure there's there's little duos or something.
Probably something like that. Yeah. All right. Last question. You already kind of answered this, but what's the probability of Kayla winning this game, winning the 100 Gs? Give me a percentage.
I would like her to win.
You would like, of course.
100%. I want her to win.
Let's give odds to all of the people. First off, Maddie going home. No chance Maddie can save herself this week with how things are right now.
If Maddie saves herself, she's a genius.
Right.
This is her. Remember I said Maddie's quality was that she could just loop, talk. Maddie and Paris both screwed up. We know that by attacking Kayla with the get rid of Derek speech. So it was just too obvious. Yeah. They were so busy trying to get Kayla to dump Derek that they weren't focused on saving themselves, but it ain't over till it's over.
Right.
We've got a whole week, man. Like every minute in there is crucial. So if anyone can talk their way off the block, man, it's Maddie. Except all the live feeds are saying that just hands down, they don't want to go up against her in the 4. But like, that's what I mean. Paris playing the middle. You're not good enough to be the Kayla Derek beast, and you're not like, is that really someone we want winning? That's so bad they're like not the target every week.
Hey, I'm a big fan of middle players. Middle game got me pretty damn far when I was in there.
It doesn't matter if you don't win. Like,
that's true.
I think all the huge loudmouth comp beast threats go early.
Yep.
I think total middle grounders go in the middle. I don't know. It's different every time, but
yeah.
Maddie is going this week, which is too bad.
So
that's a really bogus Final Four.
And assuming that is the Final Four, give me percentages on each one and their chances of winning the game.
It's gonna be Dela. There's no way. There's like, I say 50-50 Dela. There's no way Paris and or Will win enough to have any power to get anywhere.
If for some unforeseen reason, like hypothetically, maybe if there's like a gibberish talking competition for the veto next time around, and Will obviously will have that as a lock, would Will or Paris cut Derek or Kayla?
Kayla.
She's
a way bigger threat. Okay. They're not going to have any power to do that, though. So we have an HOH to play, right? An HOH and a POV.
Yep.
So they'd have to win both. Truly, if you really think about it, like Paris and Will would have to win the HOH and the POV to get rid of Dela this week. So one of them would have to be in power to even put them on the block.
Right.
And then the other one would have to win the POV to have the say in who goes home. There's zero chance of that happening.
Yeah.
There's zero chance. So it's 2 competitions they have. It's not just one lucky competition. Like, even if Paris got HOH and put Dela on the block, it comes down to POV.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who goes on the block next. It comes down to POV. And there's just no way.
Wow. Well, it's going to leave for some riveting. So that means pretty much the next 3 or 4 episodes before we get to finale is all going to be about like Hasbro games and product placement and Wendy's shoutouts and L'Oreal stuff. Because what else is there going to be to talk about? If Derek wins HOH and Derek wins HOH and veto next week, what else? What kind of game talk is there? There's no way Derek's going to get convinced of anything. So what are we going to do? Another makeover?
Doesn't matter who wins HOH. So let's say Paris or Will get the HOH. Let them have it. Doesn't matter who wins HOH. There's no way they're going to beast them out in the veto. Yeah. Derek or Kayla will win the veto, and that's the only person that matters. That's the only one that matters.
But perhaps the most important question of all, Liza, is what has been your favorite Hasbro game to watch so far? Is there one that obviously we're all on the edge of our seat. We're all on the edge of our seat watching all these Hasbros. Is there one that you're like, why the hell haven't they played this one yet?
Hey, that's the only reason the Big Brother came back this season, man.
Hasbro?
That product placement. It's those advertising dollars. Global TV needs that money.
That is, yeah. Oh,
it's true.
Could they not use one of those for, like, an HOH if they're going to have this kind of product placement? Can they, like, not have it? Can they maybe put something on the line with that one?
Right.
I don't know. Like, Big Brother has random competitions. It's not as if like a game of Twister for HOH would be the most random competition they've ever had.
There was not a lot of food comps in my season. There were so many food. We did have not competitions every week.
Right.
They did one this season, I think, the basketball one.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah, we did like 2 or 3 near the beginning, and then we stopped around jury point.
Yeah.
I think they were just like too afraid that I was gonna like hurt somebody again because I hit Levita right in her crotch.
Nice.
Throwing once. Yeah, it was
memories.
It was killer. Good times. Good times. Well, anything else you want to touch on before we wrap this up here, Liz?
Nope, you've done great. I'm really proud of you.
You've done better. Thanks for the support, kiddo.
You had great questions prepared, and you kept the flow of the thing going the whole time, and we need to get you a better setup there in your house.
Yeah, I
want a professional studio next time.
I got a lamp. This was a note McCrae gave me. I got a lamp with a pillowcase that's covering it, so it's like shining on me. And McCrae was like, "That looks awesome." And Cameron said that too, but I don't know if it's like awesome or not. But it's probably awesomer than some other stuff. that I've done.
We'll work the aesthetic with you, but you've got the
Baby
meat
steps.
on the table.
Baby steps. Yay. All right. Well, on that note, before we wrap up here, so we can get those followers, Liza, how can people follow what's going on with your dishes and other stuff that you do?
My name, Liza Stinton on all things. Liza Stinton on Twitter. Liza Stinton on Instagram. Liza Stinton on YouTube. Follow my dish. Liza Stinton on Facebook. Just pretend it's flashing across the screen. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Yeah. Watch my YouTube channel.
I'm not fancy enough to like put cool graphics or pay somebody to do that, so I'm just doing my hands like this as like the swooshing at the swooshing thing. It's all universal. That's how it is. And if you guys liked this show, feel free to give me a thumbs up. Feel free to leave me suggestions and comments as well in the section below. You can always follow what's going on with me at JoelBBCan and JoelBBCan4 on Instagram. And yeah, stay tuned. We got another week and a half of intense stuff because Derek and Kayla beasting it down the stretch. So it's going to be really intense game talk as we get closer to finale, getting ready to crown either Derek or Kayla as the new winner of Big Brother Canada. So stay tuned for the most predictable Big Brother Canada winner probably
you never know. Maybe we could get a big wrench in the works.
Of all time. We'll see. I would love to have a wrench thrown my way, but that's going to do it for me, guys. Thanks again to Liza for joining me. Thanks for everybody in the chat, and we will talk to you guys again soon. Toodles!
Bye!